You can see I got my golf gear on right now. Yeah, it just kind of naturally evolved my background. I fell in love with golf at a very young age. Actually, I played all sports. Was also a dancer, but golf just stole my heart at a very young age, and I started playing very competitively by age of 10, which was very unusual. And because of that, I was able to transition into being quite a high performer. And it was never my intention to be a professional player, but it just kind of happened that way after college and mini tours. I got an opportunity to go to Japan to live for 3 years back in the late 80s, early 90s. And I just knew it was just, this is what I wanted to do. But unfortunately, my self-talk was horrific. And I had mentioned it yesterday. If you really want to see what you believe in or what your beliefs are, listen to your self-talk. My self-talk as a former professional player made Stephen King look like an angel. That's how bad it was. People would never know that, of course, but I was a mess. I was so hard on myself. It was horrible. And so I knew that there was something inside of me that says, when I lost my card by one shot, I lost it by a stroke, and I had a $1 million contract rip up in front of me because of that. Right after I actually walked off the green, by the way, my sponsors walked over and just went, "We're done." I went, I guess that's a sign. I need to do something else. So I knew that in my heart that I love to help people. And so I decided that I think maybe I really want to stick with what I love, which is the golf. And I thought, I'm going to be a coach. I just love helping people. And I think I really have a knack for it. It kind of runs in my generations of family, teaching and helping people. So I guess it's just part of my DNA. And so I turned to the LPGA, and my beautiful friend, Jody, I'm hoping she's going to hop on here and tell her story, more of her story. Amazing woman. I joined the LPGA, and I've had this incredible roller coaster ride of meeting some exceptional, empowering women. And thank you, Bob, for, taking that time to really express how you felt about your mom. It's really true. I mean, yay for all of us moms that go through a lot of stuff. And I'm very fortunate that I have an incredible partner, my husband. He is the man that stands behind me. He props me up, and he doesn't mind that I'm up in the front. So I'm very blessed that way. So to be in the surroundings of so many incredible women who've gone through a lot more hardships than me, I find it very humbling and very honoring to learn their story. And this is what attracted me to Limbic Arc, is that once I got into coaching, I realized that through my journey of helping people, really anybody that was very inexperienced, never held a club, to very high players, very exceptionally high players, tour players. I'm very privileged that I've been able to be in that circle. It always came down to one thing. It's not people's physical skill sets that are the issue. It really is that internal garbage that goes on inside. There is so much internal garbage that goes on. And boy, remember who was the worst? I know about that self-talk. So I picked it up very, very quickly. I zeroed in on it very quickly. And that's how I became known as the Mindset Mojo coach, is because I intuitively picked up on that energy instinctively. And I would just immediately stop them and go, even after 2 swings of explaining something, I would never place blame or concern that something was their fault. I said, okay, we need to stop. Something's not clicking. They go, oh, no, I understood what you're saying. I said, nope, my fault. My communication was poor. And I would stop. And I said, tell me where I lost you, because it truly is an inner game. And if it's not clicking inside and things aren't aligned, that physical form is just not going to happen. You will not be in flow. You will always be out of alignment. You will always be, kind of bobbling back and forth. And I just knew right away. And that's kind of what made my coaching different. So fast forward, I also knew a lot about my family background. And I had mentioned it last night. We lost my sister over 20 years ago to mental illness. My mother was a relentless researcher, so she's been researching about health and wellness for over 30 years before it was even cool. She was also a cytotechnologist in the cancer agency, so she's been looking at cellular molecular structures since all of that as well. So it's a real fascinating combination I come from. I've got this beautiful mother who is like the foundation, once again, of relentlessly looking for outside solutions that don't fit the typical institutions. And then, of course, my outside thinking of what was happening in our golf industry, that it's not just technique, it's an inner game. Just that whole combination has brought me to a point where I decided that I really needed to start reaching out to more people. And so I stepped away from the industry 2 years ago to get into transformational wellness coaching. But it was getting really frustrating because I could see people sabotaging constantly, even though I had the key. I knew I had the key to get them through those limiting beliefs, those limiting blocks, those self-doubts, that unworthy, all that hijacking. I saw it with my sister. I saw it with me. I saw it with all the people, thousands of people that showed up at my tea. We have endless discussions with this with other coaches. And I just, like I said last night, I just screamed it out to the universe. Please, please, universe, there has got to be a simpler way. There's got to be a simpler way to help people get into alignment and find their balance. It cannot be this difficult. We are meant to thrive on this planet, not just survive and just slowly crawl our way into all these weird situations. I said, there's got to be a simpler way. And poof, Michelle showed up. And she showed me this amazing modality, and I was just blown away because I was studying quantum energy through my personal journey 6 years ago of my moment in the mirror again of my dark night of the soul. And when I went on this massive personal journey to unlock those hidden shackles that have been buried me and my true essence, and really get out of ego. Because when you are a high performer or a high achiever, there are so many unhappy high achievers out there, and I was one of them, because we start to begin to believe that what we do is who we are. And it was just making me miserable, absolutely miserable. And I had to change that quick, or else my marriage wasn't going to last. I was just going to spiral out of control. I started to feel all that fear, that anxiety, all the things that you think a high achiever is not feeling. Well, I'll tell you, it's a nasty spiral. So everybody goes down that rabbit hole in a different way. And I just couldn't be more thrilled to have found Limbic Arc, because I cannot shout it enough from the rooftop, because it truly is that simple. It is one click. You just go unlock your scan, you activate your ingredients, and you just go play. Just go play, and it does it all for you. Your innate intelligence, everything that I've known about the inner workings of your power source, which is in here, you're now tapping into it. You don't have to go look for it. It's like bam, it's like there. And it's just like, wow, this is freaking awesome. I'm just like on fire. I just can't get enough of it. And I can't share it enough. I can't shout it enough. And terrible me, I can't barf it enough. I just must be making people obnoxious sometimes with all my, sharing sometimes. I just know intuitively that I know how far I can push certain people and how I can back off. But Jody listened to me. She was so open. Some of my other beautiful teammates who have hopped on, I pushed them too. I said, you got to do it. I know you're doing something different, but I'm telling you, this will change your life. I'm not looking for business partners. I'm looking to help you transform your life and make it so efficient and so effective. You can't even wrap your head around it. And to me, we used to talk about being a mom and a dad, about, everybody has to have their thermometer on hand, for your children. If you do not have this in your tool chest for family wellness, you're back in the Roman days, because this thing should be in every household around the world. This should be your go-to for every person that you love and care for. And what it's going to do, we talk about it, what it does for ourselves and our family, but I see this going to a whole nother level because of the byproducts we're witnessing now in transformation, and what it's going to do for athletes, what it's going to do for people who have certain issues that they're doing. And again, this is not a medical tool. This is not a medical tool. This is not to cure or diagnose. This is strictly a wellness tool that knows you and only you. And it doesn't work for anybody else except you. Now, isn't that an interesting statement? So it's really fascinating to me that once an athlete gets a hold of this thing, I mean, it's just going to take everybody to a whole nother level. And when you start aligning and balancing your true nature, everything about your true nature, which is physical, which we have been completely hijacked in our world right now with all the toxins, the poisons, the pathogens, the heavy metals, which have completely sabotaged our brains and our thinking, completely sabotaged our immune systems. I said, you know, when you start to align your physical wellness, I was trying to do it with the mental. We know how powerful the mindset is, but if somebody is physically debilitated, they can't think straight anymore. They can't emotionally get in alignment because they are so debilitated physically. So now I realize that that was what was hurting my business, is that how much pain everybody is in. And that's when the big light bulb went out. Well, this is what my mom was talking about when it happened to my sister. You just can't help somebody mentally and emotionally and spiritually when they are so debilitated physically. You start to do that one step first and everything else just falls into place. And that's the beautiful thing about Limbic Arc. That's when all those other byproducts start stepping up, because people are just, that I'm sorry, but it's like a freaking IV of a smorgasbord going into a starving body. Your body is starving, absolutely starving, because food is no longer our medicine and medicine is no longer our food. And we need the purest form of nutraceuticals we can get our hands on now. And this library, over 470 nutraceuticals, are you freaking kidding me? And some of them are worth thousands of dollars. Like, hello. But what's even more mind-blowing is the stuff that my mother used to talk about, which were all those electromagnetic frequencies that nobody would talk about because nobody can see them. They go, oh, that's no big deal. Well, guess what? This app takes care of that too. I'm just like, wow, I know somebody that pays thousands of dollars for frequency devices around their homes to keep this crap away. And it's right in our app. And then how about molds and fungi? I mean, holy moly, we can neutralize that too. I'm like going, it just doesn't stop. It just keeps getting better and better and better. I mean, who doesn't want this? I mean, it's such a beautiful divine gift. And I said last night on the phone, as soon as I can get on a plane to Utah, poor Dr. Cook, you better be prepared, because he is going to get absolutely tackled by me. So I hope he's ready. You better put on those strength boosts, Dr. Cook, because Tony's coming. So thank you everybody so much for this beautiful, and I can't say enough about this community. So those of you who are new, who are listening to this community is so different than anything I've ever experienced. And I have been in part of some amazing communities. Obviously, my LPGA women are amazing, but you know, we get caught up on only taking care of ourselves sometimes, and I get that. You're not going to find that here. If you need help and you need direction, there isn't anybody here that will not help you in some sort of way. That you will never, ever be abandoned. You will have more people reaching out, and you will feel the love like nobody's business. And that's what this world needs. This world needs to rise above the mojo needs to rise above, because when we link arms like this, we're unstoppable. This is how we change the world. One spark at a time. Love it.
That's awesome, Toni. You're awesome. Thank you for sharing. I've got a question for you though. Because you mentioned the word quite a bit last night and today about sabotage. For those of us that aren't familiar with that mindset, can you just share with us what that is so we can understand that? Because I agree with you and I see it all the time. But for those that aren't familiar, how does somebody sabotage themselves?
Well, you know, the formula that all the experts and gurus give you is that, you know, your thoughts create a feeling, and then those feelings create an action, and then your actions create a result. But where do the thoughts come from? Those thoughts come from beliefs. Very, very deep beliefs, and beliefs that you're not even aware of, because those beliefs were actually created between the ages of 0 to 7. So this is why we're not really aware of them until we can start seeing why all of a sudden we reverse some of our, why we change some of our direction or our choices, not in a good way, which means that it's what I would call a red flag, that something deeper is going on that has been buried for a long time. And so that's why I always say, look at your self-talk. Because it's really interesting as coaches, we're really good at, and Michelle had mentioned it, we're really good at supporting our players and our clients, but we're just as guilty. We're human too, of thinking that we're not worthy. And that is really the biggest one. That is the biggest one. People talk about the word, I'm not enough. I go deeper than that. We have really come to the conclusion that we are not worthy of thriving. That we're supposed to, for some unknown reason, we've bought into the belief that we have to work hard and that we have to be deserving of it. We don't have to be deserving of anything. We are already worthy of everything that is a gift to us on this planet and from other people. And as soon as you start peeling back those layers and you start to really unshackle those limiting beliefs, which were buried at a very young age, absolute magic happens. And that's what this app is doing. It is, for whatever reason, it has gotten into that subconscious mind, and it is just starting to just melt that crap away. And it is just so powerful. I just cry every day. I get a testimony every day from people I've shared this with, and there are no words to explain. So thank you for the question. So please, everybody, just start peeling back the layers. Listen to your self-talk. You are worthy. You were born divine. You were born divine. Your fears and your limiting beliefs were programmed. They were just programmed. You were not born with them. You were not born with them. I promise you that. That's why this app is working, because that crap that was programmed is falling away. It's amazing.